amazing student. We're going to be going over the foundational standard F0, which is to evaluate expressions using the order of operations. Let's start off. What is the order of operations? What is the order of operations? What does P in PEMDAS stand for? Parentheses. Put a check mark there. E, what does E stand for? Exponents. So we're going to have exponents sometimes. What about M and D? Multiplication and division, that's right. And then finally we have A and S. Addition and subtraction. That is from left to right. I want you to notice how M and D are grouped as well as A and S are grouped. That means that you have to do them from left to right. It's whatever one shows up first. So for example, in number 1 right here, many people believe that you have to do multiplication first. But what shows up first? What shows up first in the problem? Division or multiplication? Right, because if we do multiplication first, it's very likely that we'll get the wrong answer. So we're going to make sure to follow the order of operations for these problems. Alright, so for the first one, we are going to do, for the first part of this video, we're going to go through number 1 through 4, and then I'm going to have you do number 5 through 14 on your own, checking your work with the answers shown below. Alright, listen very closely. I'm going to be putting check marks on each of these items as we go. Alright, let's begin. Number 1, it says to evaluate 12 divided by 4 times 3 minus 5. I encourage you to take notes and follow along as we go through this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and ask myself, do we have any parentheses? Nope. Check mark. Exponents? Nope. Now we can go into multiplication and division. So multiplication and division, we're going to do division first, since it shows up left to right. What's 12 divided by 4? 3. So that gives us 3 times 3 minus 5. Now notice I'm only going to do one step at a time, one operation at a time, so that I avoid making any errors. Okay, so 12 divided by 4 times 3 minus 5 gives us 3 times 3 minus 5. Now what's next? Multiplication. 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 5 equals our final answer of 4. That's where we're going to ask you to box your answer, please, because after we did multiplication and division, we needed to do simple subtraction. We didn't have any addition, we just had simple subtraction. So with that subtraction, we got 9 minus 5 is 4. Alright, number 2. Number 2. Evaluate 8 divided by 3 minus 5. Well, notice these symbols right there. What are these symbols? I'll show it in red. What is that symbol that looks like a bar? Those bars are, what is it? Absolute value. That means, what is absolute value? Absolute value is the distance from the point to 0. That means, how far is a number from 0? If you notice that they're in between bars like this, you simply make the number positive. What about the 5? Do we turn a 5 into a negative 5? No. How far away is 5 from 0? 5 is only 5 away from 0. So if it's positive, keep it positive. If it's negative, it just simply turns positive. Distance is always positive or 0. The only common error with number 2 is some people think that you will need to just, if you see absolute value, you're going to turn everything negative into a positive. Is that true? Look at number 2. Could we turn this negative into a positive just because it's in between the absolute value symbol? The answer is no. we must first evaluate, and then we will take the absolute value. So let's follow the order of operations. Number 2. Parentheses. Treat these like parentheses. What is 3 minus 5? Negative 2. Put the absolute value symbol and leave the 8. Okay, what about exponents? No exponents. What about multiplication and division? We do have a division. But first, let's take care of the absolute value. Again, treat the absolute value like parentheses. What is the absolute value of negative 2? The absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. Very good. So that's going to give us 8 divided by 2. What is 8 divided by 2? 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, and then there's no addition and no subtraction. We just got to our answer in a couple of steps. That was pretty good. Now let's look at number 3. Number 3 is a much more complicated problem. As you can see, there's a lot of operations going on. We have subtraction, we have multiplication, exponents even, and even parentheses guiding us through this problem. So let's do number 3 carefully, making sure to not do any mistakes. Following the order of operations will save you from a lot of errors. Let's see. Do we have parentheses? Yes. Let us take care of parentheses first. 5 minus 6 is negative 1. I will leave that in parentheses and write the rest of the problem as it was. Okay, so notice all we did so far was 5 minus 6. 5 minus 6 is negative 1. Next up in the order of operations is exponents. Do we have any exponents? Yes, we do. I will go ahead and do this exponent first. Negative 1 cubed. What is negative 1 cubed? What is negative 1 cubed?
It's negative 1.
Negative 1 cubed is negative 1. I'll leave that in parentheses. Because why is negative 1 cubed negative 1? What does negative 1 cubed even mean? Negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Which is, interestingly enough, negative 1. So that's how we got our answer there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing as before. Write down everything that was there before and follow the next order in operations. Okay, which is multiplication and division. Do we have any multiplication going on in this problem, in this step? Yes, we do. So we're going to do this multiplication. Did you know that parentheses means multiplication? All right, let's go ahead and do that multiplication right there. Negative 3 times negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So I'm going to write down the problem, this time making it negative 4 plus 3 minus 2. Now this is just a step where I'm going to do the addition and subtraction next from left to right, and we'll get our answer. What is negative 4 plus 3 minus 2?
It's negative 3.
We will get our answer of negative 3. You can also try to do this in your head. It's a little tough with negatives, but what's negative 4 plus 3? Negative 1. And what's negative 1 minus 2? Negative 3. All right, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 says, evaluate 2 times x minus 2 to the third power plus 4 when x equals 3. Oh, sorry, when x equals what? When x equals 4. That means we're going to go ahead and substitute the 4 in 4x. Well, let's do that. Let's rewrite it. 2 times 4 minus 2 cubed plus 4. Write it down carefully not to make any mistakes in rewriting the problem. What if we forgot the 3 there? Would be the wrong answer. Okay, so that is going to be our first step, is evaluating that 4 in there. So next up is parentheses. Let's do the parentheses. 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2 will be 2. Leave it in parentheses. Leave the third power there. Leave the plus 4. Now we're going to do the exponent. What is the exponent in this problem? 2 cubed. What is 2 cubed? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. That gives us 2 times 8 plus 4. Next up, multiplication and division. So what multiplication do we have in this problem? 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is 16. And after the multiplication goes addition and subtraction. What is 16 plus 4? 16 plus 4 is 20. At this time, I would like for you to ask any questions and also try problems number 5 through 14, checking your answers as you go.